Boogie, drop that beat.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Talking Out Loud with Miss Talkative. Everything I say is my own opinion, alleged, and strictly entertainment purposes. Remember, I'm just talking out loud. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on the video, and let me know what you think. I am so glad that the courts of Huntsville has finally decided to hold Martell accountable, and they found him guilty of the DV charges and the harassment and communication charges that was filed against him. And even though Martell got a suspended sentence, I'm just glad that he was convicted. I'm glad that he was found guilty. But like I say, even though he got a suspended sentence, knowing Martell and him thinking that he's above the law and can't nobody tell him what to do, he's probably already violated the terms of his suspended sentence. And from what I read, if Martell does violate any of the terms of his conviction, he will have to go to jail to serve out his time. And that's probably why Martell was seen down at the lab getting some blood work. I believe it was Millichon's Instagram that stated that someone was down at the lab and they happened to see Martell down there getting some blood work done. And first thing that came to my mind was that Martell is probably submitting blood work or whatever, because if he's been convicted and he's mandated to see a probation officer, probably part of his terms of seeing a probation officer is for him to submit random drug and alcohol tests, and because one dirty drop, it could cause him to go directly to jail. So I don't know what the terms of his conviction is, but I do. I have read up on when you go to when you're under when you have probation, random drug tests and stuff like that is a must, and you can't refuse. So probably they had him get some blood work to make sure there's nothing in the system, and here on out he has to stay clean. I don't know, but I'm assuming. But because I'm just assuming this because we all know that Martell, he's not going to do anything responsible on his own. Martell is mandated to do any and everything responsible. But with Martell being convicted, I can only assume that either his favors with the courts has all run out, or maybe whomever that was helping him, because you can't tell me that somebody inside them courts were not helping Martell or still trying to help Martell. But I wonder, has his favors run out with whomever was helping him, or whomever was helping him, they probably don't have jurisdiction over the sector of the courts where Martell was tried and convicted. But either way, I'm just glad that finally there's some type of justice for Melody, and I hope the courts decide to file charges on Martell for him using corporal punishment against Melody kids as well, and for him allowing Ariane and her daughter to bully and harass Melody kids, because I feel as though it's not right for them to continue to get away with it, especially when Martell was told to stop the first time around. And Melody stated the only reason that information, or that they didn't go to trial over those allegations the first time, is because Martell's lawyer filed some type of paperwork at the last minute, which changed the direction of their court case. So I hope that this time that somebody see fit to hold Martell accountable for the for him mistreating Melody's kids and allowing Ariane to do the same. And while Carlos and the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville, while they're trying to downplay Martell DV charges, calling it communication and just a simple text, I wonder, did they film the conviction? I just wonder, is Carlos planning for a follow-up or a retraction of some sort? Probably not, because they're not, the cast is not, they're not taking up for Martell because they feel as though he's innocent. They're taking up for Martell for their hatred of Melody. So will there be a full retraction or edit or some kind or follow up? Probably not, because they don't mean Melody no good. But for all the other Melody haters outside of the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville, trying to play, the ones that's been playing in Melody's face, calling her a liar, calling her a bitter ex that just can't seem to move on. I hope that they understand that the conviction that Martell received, it wouldn't have even been possible without evidence. I hope they come to realize that Martell was convicted of DV, harassing communication, not by the words of Melody, but her evidence that she presented. Melody has always been, she's always stood by her saying of she comes with receipts. She always say, when I'm ready to talk, when I'm ready to speak, I'm going to bring the receipts. So for people to even doubt that what she said was true, even though we all seen it play out on social media and people still had the nerve to doubt her, I hope that these people, the Melody haters, I hope they realize that this wouldn't have never been possible. His conviction wouldn't have been possible had not it been for receipts. So for him to be convicted, Martell did that mess. But so I believe that now that the Huntsville courts have done their job by convicting Martell and holding him accountable, I think it's time now that Carlos and On do their job as well. It's clearly time for Martell to go. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Don't care that Carlos and Martell are so close, they're friends or whatever. Now, and it's bad that now it seems Carlos' hand is probably forced, where he's probably going to make that hard decision that he don't want to make, but he should have done something a long time ago. But he chose to protect Martell and try to windmill for Martell, do all this stuff instead of doing his job. So this is partly Carlos' fault. And the fact that Carlos actually told Melody that he didn't step in to help her because she's a straight A student and he figured she didn't need any help. I hope that statement, I hope it bites him in the behind just as well as Martell is getting his karma right now. I hope the statement that Carlos made about not helping Melody, I hope that winds up biting him in the behind as well. But that's probably why Carlos is all of a sudden ranting and wanting to speak about him keeping Melody safe and stuff like that, because he had already got word or got the news of Martell conviction. And so now he's just trying to cover his own behind because he doesn't know what Melody's next move is. He don't know if Melody's coming for him, if something has already been been put on record about him or what's going on, even though clearly everything has been well documented throughout the Love and Marriage Huntsville filming for all these seasons, and not to mention that the podcast was very damaging to Carlos and Martell, and the fact that Melody had been on a couple other interviews with Carlos, and she had mentioned that she did not wish to film with Martell, and she even thought about quitting Love and Marriage Huntsville because of Martell, so she didn't have to deal with him. So all of this, now Carlos wanting to speak up and speak out about him protecting Melody, it's too late now, because people have been asking Carlos to speak up, speak out, take a stance against abuse. People have begged for the dismissal of Martell, and per Carlos, his own words, he don't listen to anybody. So again, I hope his own statements turn around and bite him in the behind. Melody has asked several times not to film with Martell, and yet and still, here we go. And Love and Marriage Huntsville season, what is this, 6, 7, 8? They don't even know. That's just proof that Carlos is not a good executive producer, because nobody knows exactly what season they're in. But they're still trying to, even this year, they were still trying to create scenes for Melody to film with Martell. It's like they're just looking for the friction, hoping that Melody and Martell go at each other just so Carlos can have some ratings. And to me, Carlos, he lost sight that he's an executive producer of Love and Marriage Huntsville, and everything that happens on Love and Marriage Huntsville or because of Love and Marriage Huntsville, whether he knows it or not, whether he admits to knowing about it or not, he's still ultimately responsible. He want to claim that he's the executive producer. He created this, he did this, he did that. And I'm glad that he's owned it, and I'm glad that he has, stuck his chest out there. And I hope that he's ready to own everything that comes up next, because I believe that with Martell conviction, with Maurice's lawsuit, I'm quite sure that it's just everything is just, it's a snowball building up that's about to roll downhill and knock all of that mess apart. But anyway, this is Martell's own doing to himself. This is his own fault, because Martell did not have to go out like this. Melody offered Martell 15% of her businesses, and she has several businesses, which means that Martell could have been living like a fat rat off of Melody, and where he didn't have to lift a finger, but because he chose to be greedy and he wanted half, Melody was like, nope, I'm dissolving everything. And when she dissolved it, she rebranded, rebuild bigger and better, all on her own, and to the point where she don't have to give Martell anything. So now he gets nothing. He's going out sad. And that's part of the reason why he can't leave her alone. He just can't step back and let her get on with her life, because he knows what she's capable of. But at that moment when she offered him the 15%, him not thinking, the businesses that she's offering me 15% of are already thriving. They're already $1 million businesses. Martell didn't have to do anything but go on about his business, live his life, whatever his life meant to him, and he could have been collecting a check. Because what is it? A 15% of $1 million? That's what, $150,000, and that's just off one business. Martell could have been maintaining the same lifestyle just without Melody. And all he had to do was sit there, shut up, and take the 15%. So this just proves Martell he's really the biggest loser. And he did this to himself. That's just my opinion. I'm just talking out loud. Please like, share, subscribe, comment on the video. Let me know what you think.